Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. Our show is a production of our nonprofit organization, the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation, or THCF, and our affiliated political committee, the Campaign for the Restoration and Regulation of Hemp. We have an exciting show for you this week. We have Madeline Martinez from Oregon NORML is here to talk about legislation and their patient meetings tomorrow night. Don Dupay, a retired Portland police detective, is here as well with an editorial. We'll all be taking your phone calls and questions. We have Tim Pate and Don McFadden over here to provide musical accompaniment. They'll have several opportunities to do so this evening. We also have the infamous tortoise, Buddy. The infamous tortoise is here. Buddy's magic manure seems to be very, very productive for cannabis plants, and he's recently come to fame in Willamette Week. But we also have a lot of news stories for you, so without further ado, let's bring on our infamous Dancing Cannabis Leaves. All right, tonight's Hemp News starts out with a story from Washington, D.C. Legislation that seeks to reduce campus marijuana possession penalties so that they're no greater than university-imposed sanctions for alcohol were approved by George Washington University Student Association Senate this week in Washington, D.C. The proposal, which was sponsored by GWU's chapter of NORML, must still be approved by the SA president and the GWU Board of Trustees before it can be enacted. It's much like the Colorado measure that tried to equalize state laws in Colorado and in Denver of marijuana and alcohol. Under the current campus policy, a marijuana possession violation results in, at minimum, expulsion from student housing. Students do not face similar sanctions for violating the campus alcohol policy until at least their third offense. Our next story is from New Mexico. The New Mexico Senate overwhelmingly approves the medical marijuana measure. Legislation seeking to establish statewide regulations permitting qualified patients to use medicinal cannabis was approved by 34-7 by the New Mexico Senate yesterday and now moves on to the New Mexico House for consideration. Prior versions of the bill, known as the Lynn and Aaron Compassionate Use Act, or New Mexico Senate Bill 238, have previously passed both legislative chambers but fell just short of becoming law. If enacted, the measure would order the State Department of Health to promulgate rules governing the use and distribution of medical cannabis to state-authorized patients. Supporters of the bill include New Mexico's Governor Bill Richardson, who's also a Democratic presidential candidate. And he stated yesterday, quote, "I continue to support a medical marijuana bill that includes proper safeguards to prevent abuse. I'll work with legislators to get it passed this session to provide this option for New Mexicans suffering from debilitating diseases," end quote. So that's exciting. Another story out of Washington, D.C. The Bush administration has requested significant increases in federal funding to randomly drug test student athletes and pay for public service announcements, or PSAs, on television and radio, urging teens to avoid marijuana. According to budget requests, the White House is demanding $130 million in the year 2008 to fund the National Youth Anti-Drug Media Campaign, which primarily targets cannabis, an increase of 31% over the current funding levels. Studies of the campaign, which has spent over $2 billion in federal monies and matching funds since its inception in 1998, have consistently found that teens most exposed to the advertisements are more likely to try cannabis than their peers. According to the Texas State University investigators' report last year in the Journal of Addictive Behaviors, quote, it appears that anti-marijuana public statement announcements used in national anti-drug campaigns in the U.S. produce immediate effects that are the opposite of those intended by the creators of the campaign, end quote. White House officials have also requested $17.9 million in 2008 to pay for the implementation of random drug testing programs for students who participate in competitive extracurricular activities. Since 2005, the Education Department has appropriated more than $20 million to various school districts to pay for random drug testing programs. Federal grant funds may not be used to pay for separate drug education or prevention curricula, nor may any funds be used to train school staff officials on how to implement drug testing. Only federal investigators are eligible to review the data collected by the school programs, which will be evaluated as part of a forthcoming federal assessment of the efficacy of random drug testing to deter illicit student drug use. There's an interesting article in today's Washington Post written by Emil Steiner. And it says President Bush is asking Congress to increase funding for an anti-drug campaign which studies say is at best useless and at worst has increased drug use among teens. In 2003, the Office of Management and Budget evaluated the $1.4 billion program and determined it showed virtually no results. With no solution in sight, a $47 million study was launched by the Government Accountability Office, which determined the campaign actually increased, quote, the perceptions that others use marijuana, end quote, and, quote, led to higher rates of first-time drug use among teens. Now the White House wants another $130 million to make more commercials and possibly expand the scope of their content. So the question remains, why would our government throw money at something which has been found to be counterproductive to their supposed motive? For me to write that the administration wants kids to take drugs would be professionally irresponsible, but at the same time their use of taxpayer dollars seems to be exactly that. Is this simply a case of bureaucracy feeding bureaucracy, or is something more sinister afoot? Once again, that's a story out of Washington, out of the Washington Post on February 8th by Emil Steiner, asking if the White House is intending to increase teen marijuana use. That's the end of our Hemp News segment tonight. We'll be back in just a moment. We have Madeline Martinez to talk about legislative activities here this evening. Don Dupé's here. We'll be taking your calls in just a few moments. But until then, we have Tim Pate and Mr. McFadden over here ready to play some music, and you get to see some nifty flowers at the same time.
I think we're going to play something for you.
All right.
Day that I met you, I'm sure the skies were blue, and all the clouds were gone from all of you. Don't you remember too? And I recall your eyes, how they sparkled in
Thank you, Tim. And Don. Great. We'll have you back here in another 15 and 20 minutes or so. Welcome to the show, Madeline.
Well, thank you,
Welcome
Paul,
back,
for
I
letting
should
me
say.
come on tonight.
Well, you've been doing a lot of work down in Salem with the state legislature.
Yes, I
Been
have.
working on building it for quite a while, number of months. So
Right,
now You're
right.
doing the hard leg work in the busy house.
Yes, actually, you know, Alicia Williamson, Melody Silverwolf, and myself have put together some legislation. We've proposed for a state garden at the Oregon State University, and we're really excited about that. We're waiting for a Senate bill number right now. Senator Bill Morissette is carrying that for us, supporting us, and we're looking for more sponsors. The new session has asked that we have a Republican and a Democrat in each of the houses in the Senate as well as in the House, and so we're really excited about that. Going out there and trying to find more support, and we're getting a lot of people interested in what we're doing. A lot of our legislators, you know, they have the stories that touch your heart every day. They experienced it with a loved one. They had to fight cancer, and they went up against the physician saying, well, the only thing that will help will be medical marijuana, but I can't sign for it.
Right.
You know, it's a criminal act, in my opinion, for you to tell someone that, but I can't help you, even though this will help you. I can't help you. And so, you know, you go out there and you talk to these representatives and these legislators, and they have the same stories we do, and they want to help us, and so we're really looking for that. But one of the reasons I'm here tonight, Paul, is because there's this hideous bill that's before the Senate Business, Transportation, and Workforce
Would allow
Committee.
them to fire medical marijuana patients for no cause.
Exactly, for no cause except that they're medical marijuana patients.
Right.
You know, of course, we don't want anyone smoking at work or going out there and, you know, causing harm to anybody.
And
Let's
there's
be
nothing in the medical
responsible.
marijuana law that allows that, and no one's ever said employers should allow that.
Well, no, of course not. We want everyone to be responsible consumers.
Exactly.
You know, we don't want you driving and smoking. You know, we hear these hideous stories about somebody sitting in their car with a bong driving down the street smoking. I mean, it's just not acceptable. And everyone should know that. Please, you know, be responsible
Kind of
consumers.
like driving around with a bottle of whiskey at your side. I
Well,
mean,
sure.
we know cannabis isn't as debilitating
Yeah.
as alcohol, but at the same time, there's got to be some limits. And I
Well, of
think
course,
that's a pretty
and-
sound one.
Right, and what I'd like everyone out there to do in our community is to contact the chair, Senator Rick Metzger, and let him know how you feel. I have his phone number here, so why don't you grab a paper and pencil and start jotting down some of these numbers, because, you know, everybody complains about government, but we're all government, and if we don't get involved, then we have the government that we deserve. Sitting on the couch watching your favorite show isn't going to change a thing. So here you go, 503-986-1726, and that's Senator
Rick Metzger.
Exactly, Rick Metzger. And if you want to talk about any of these, this is I'm going to pick this up for a little bit. This is the list that's on the Oregon Normal website, and that's at www.ornorml.org. These are the bills, and what we've done is we've gone through them. Russ Balville has gone through each of them, read them, found out, and given you a little bit about each one of these, and asking you to reach the people that you can. Make sure that you let your voice be heard, because if your voice isn't heard, then, you know, we're just wasting our time out here. And, you know, we have this law. It's going to be 8 years, you know. We're having our anniversary in May. 8 years of the Oregon Medical Marijuana Program, and thanks to all of you out there. Give yourselves a hand for supporting it. Yeah. For being patients, for being caregivers, and for growing our community. We're almost 15,000 patients now.
Yeah.
You know what the only sad part is? There's over 16,000 homeless Oregonians. Homeless Oregonians, Americans that are living under bridges. And this horrible legislation, Senate Bill 465, that Senator Metzger, by the way, wants to move along. He needs to get some calls.
Is it his bill?
I don't think it's his bill, but I'd like to see what the connection between him and Associated Oregon Industries is. We're doing a little search right now. We want to find out how much of a donation did they give to Senator Metzger. What's going on that he would support such hideous legislation? You know, these guys go, we vote them in, they go to represent us, not to represent corporations, not to represent AOI, but to represent the people. And we're disabled Oregonians, but many of us don't want to be on welfare rolls. We want to work. So we go to work, and then they want to fire us. It's just unacceptable. So please call them and let them know that Senate Bill 465 is just horrible legislation. It's corporate pandering legislation, and it needs to be killed now.
And in addition to contacting Metzger, who obviously doesn't seem predisposed to killing it, I'd recommend that all of our viewers contact their own state legislators in Salem for our Oregon viewers and urge that same thing. Hey, how you doing, Don?
I'm good,
Sitting
Paul.
there real quiet.
This is also exciting, and it's important what you're doing, Madeline. Very important.
There we have a caller here. Let's go ahead and take a call and say hello. Hi, caller.
Are you still
Hello,
there?
caller. Are you there? Hello?
Hello, I'm not hearing nothing.
Okay, we can hear you now.
Oh, you can hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I actually just called in to talk to Timothy.
Okay.
He was an inspiration at one point in my life, and still is.
Well, it's always nice to hear
Wow,
that from anyone.
right.
Well, he's an inspiration for all of us.
Thank you.
Well,
all try to
Timothy,
inspire each
I
other.
have a weird relationship with you.
All right.
I was in Seattle, and Kevin produced a show with you
Ah, yes. Yes.
with
let's
one of the
see, that
best
would
harmonica
be,
players I've ever heard in my entire life.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Well, thanks for your phone call.
I appreciate
Well,
that.
no, that's not the end of it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'd rather see Tim up on the panel, but you guys all have some great information for us all. But
Well, Tim's up here occasionally.
and I would
I
just
make
like
it when
to
I
say that
can.
my autographed CDs are all worn out,
Well, I appreciate the fact that
and
you
I
played them
would
enough.
wish that you would contact me somehow.
If you
and I
would leave your
don't,
number
have
with
a
the man
computer.
in the sound booth, I'll do that.
Or if you want to leave a message with that number there on your
Yep.
screen, if you can't get back to the guy in the sound booth, then the number on the screen will be a good one there. Thanks for your call. If you're out there and you have a question for us tonight, you can call us at 503-288-4448. 503-288-4448. And as we just showed, just because Tim's not sitting here on the panel doesn't mean he's just 10 feet over there.
That's
and
right.
He's ready to
That's
jump
right.
in at any time.
Anytime, sometimes too often. So, it's, but it's always nice to hear from people in the past. That's a
That's
good
true.
thing. Thank you
That's
for
true.
calling.
It's good to have you over here tonight, too.
Don McFadden. Yeah, he's
Thank you.
he traveled all over the world, played all over the world, and he's been helping me at all the shows for the last year whenever we do the OMA shows at the normal meetings, and he's up there along with me, and so it's just like...
And you produced that Vortex video that we showed a few weeks back about the Vortex Festival back in, what was it?
1970.
Yeah.
1970.
Well, I didn't really produce that, but Jacob's Ladder
He was the
performed
band.
the music that was the soundtrack for that.
Ah, okay,
event,
so you
which
were
I
in the band.
recorded, way more years than I like to count. But
Yeah, it's scary when you start
35
doing
years
that.
ago, 37 years ago. now.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
So we're basically a very old group.
Well, that's
We're a
okay.
pretty old group, too.
So if you're out there and you have a question for us tonight, you can call that number that's on your screen. For our Washington viewers, there's also some activity in the Washington legislature. There's a bill that's sponsored by Senator Jean Cole Wells that would dramatically improve the medical marijuana bill. There's another one out there, Senate Bill 1615 in the Washington legislature, that would allow doctors from any state to sign a Washington medical marijuana authorization. But the new bill that Senator Jean Cole Wells has will dramatically improve that. So I urge our viewers in Washington to contact the state legislators down there in Olympia and urge them to support Senator Jean Cole Wells' bill to improve and repair Washington's medical marijuana bill.
Yes.
We have another caller, though. Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, my name's
Howdy.
Jeff. I'm a card holder, and I just want to call and let you guys know I just appreciate you and the program. I'm happy.
Well, great. Thanks. Keep watching.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks for your call. So tomorrow, Oregon Normal has the medical marijuana card holders meeting.
Right, we do. We have it tomorrow at Zabala's Mount Tabor.
Right.
And the doors open at 11. People start lining up before that, though. Unfortunately, they wait a while out there, and nothing you can do about it. But I'm really excited. Yeah, we're pretty. We've done it for so long, and we're growing so quickly.
Yeah,
So
it
we've got
really
some
is.
great cuttings and some surprises for our Valentines, because we love our members. And they're going to get a little treat tomorrow when they come out there. It's going to be unexpected, a little chocolate.
Yep.
You know, nicely medicated for them because our patients deserve that, don't they?
They do.
They do.
You know,
Yes,
I
they
want
do.
to also clarify that this is a patients-only meeting. It's not Oregon Normal's membership meeting, which
No,
is
we-
open to the public.
Right.
I'd seen something out in the net sphere saying, you know, what is this? Oregon Normal only allows card holders and medical patients to their meeting. You have a general meeting on, what is it, the fourth weekend of the month?
We actually have quarterly general membership meetings.
Yeah.
And we have them at It's a Beautiful Pizza on Belmont between 33rd and 34th.
Yeah, yeah.
And we have those quarterly, and our next one's the end of March. And we have cardholder meetings every month because cardholders seem to need more attention
Yeah.
as far as getting cuttings, getting excess medicine, and many of us like to give the excess away because we want to stay in compliance. You know, and so that's how that started, and it's supposed to be safe access to excess because it's the only way to get medicine these days.
Yeah, it's for patients to give it to other patients.
Exactly.
It
So-
really is a great resource. I know I've prepared a number of cuttings to give away there tomorrow, and a lot of really good strains for patients who will need them there. And I know it's one of the few ways that in Oregon where patients have access to medication outside of the black market.
Right, and that's what we're trying to get patients away from. You know, that's why we're proposing the state garden idea because we don't want, I don't personally want, and the people that I work with, they don't want those ma and pa dispensaries on each corner like the liquor stores are in the ghettos, you
Right.
know, and we don't want our people to have to go there and be ripped off. I hear in California, and, you know, bless my people in California, good luck to them, but they're paying $15 a gram. That's outrageous.
That's more than the price of gold. You know, when they talk about the price of gold, they're talking about troy ounces, which are 40-gram ounces, where, you know, cannabis is sold in as avoirdupois ounces, which are 28-gram ounces.
Right.
So $15 a gram is considerably more than the price of gold.
Well, it's kind of
And
cute.
gold's
It's for
been going
20,
up.
but gee whiz. Yeah.
It really is.
It's frightening to think that that would come to, you know, to Oregon. I would not want to see that happen here. And so we're proposing the state garden idea because we want patients to be able to get it through the state. Why not? And
Yeah.
we figured that the state can buffer us a lot better with the Fed.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I'd rather have our DOJ, Hardy Myers, go up against them than anybody else.
Well, we see in California, too, that the feds have cracked down on all these distributors, or, you know, they've selectively picked out the best ones, it seems, and left the worst ones in place.
Yeah, well, why not? It's
Yeah.
like when they come in, they just happen to come when it's harvest time, you know?
Yeah,
It's
they
just
always
funny
do.
that way, isn't it? But
It's a
this
nice
is,
bonus on their paycheck. You know,
Yeah.
to have that.
Uh-huh.
They can share it with their
Thank you,
friends,
John
too.
Walters.
Yeah, we had John Walters, the drug czar, here in town today.
Right.
Well, what we talked about last week is how Dennis Kucinich, who's also been on this show a couple of times, is going to be overseeing John Walters
I like it.
and his policies in the United States Congress. I really look forward to some
Isn't that cool?
C-SPAN
I love
excerpts
it.
of that.
I think it's
Yeah.
payback, and you know what they say about payback?
Yeah, John.
It's the first time in our lifetimes or in history that there have been leadership positions in the United States Congress controlled by people who are against the war on drugs. And I'm hoping to see some movement here. They say that the Democrats don't want to come out too strong between now and the presidential election because they're afraid somehow that they'll seem soft on crime. Well, I think, you know, targeting marijuana smokers is soft on crime. Locking up our brothers and sisters instead of violent criminals is a big waste of resources. And once again, it's a way for these guys to pad their incomes by dipping into the black market. And that's
For
the
sure.
big problem with the marijuana prohibition is
And why
it
aren't
leads
we-
to corruption.
Why aren't we building schools instead of prisons? You know,
Yeah.
why are we sending Americans to jail and to go die for foreign oil when we have hemp seed oil in this country and gas and fuel that we could use?
Okay. Yeah, we have another caller here. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Well, good evening, gentlemen, and dear Madeline. How are y'all?
Great, thanks. How are you?
Great. I have a comment and I have a question. The comment was, there was a man arrested for selling morphine, and someone died from it here in Multnomah County, and the maximum they were going to give him was 10 years for that. And for me, I was growing in 1994, and I had three. They were about a 1.5 foot tall plant in the basement, locked. mainly for my children because I was too afraid of the lights, them hitting the lights or, getting hurt more than them getting into the actual material. And there's no way, because they weren't flowering, that they could have smelled it. It was during knock and talk. And I just find that it's just like the cocaine thing. You get less time for powder than you do crack. And it just seems so unjust that this guy would have they wanted 8 years for my grow operation at that time. And
here in Oregon?
Yeah, as Paul knows, we've both talked about this before. You've got stung twice and me once. And my other statement was, my question is I'm confused because a couple shows back, and I've heard other shows that they're working on trying to limit us to only growing for 4 patients. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what I also understand is that you can give away to any number of patients.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So I don't see why there's any squawk or why this is being brought up, because we prefer to do that as our family is growing. We have 3 members of our family that are growers, and every one of us have been burned or ripped off at gunpoint, and our stuff's been taken. And like you, Paul, you've had that trouble too. And the thing is every one has turned out to be a flake. They either ask for way too much, and it's really hard. You don't know this person; they're a complete stranger. Plus, they can find out where your grow operation has the patient, and we the ones that are scraping by. I mean, my wife is the only one working. I get $14 a month for SSI because my lawyer screwed it all up. But luckily, it gets me the $20. I only have to pay $20 to the state. But, I don't see what all the hubbub is, because I prefer to give to strangers, and what we do is we give them samples of our 6 strains and find out what they like the best, what works the best, and then what they need we'll provide within reason. But I just don't know why there's been such a big stink. I prefer it that way. I don't want a complete stranger knowing where I live and where I grow, and the heck with growing for 4 people. I mean, because any one of those 4, they're not all going to be good people. So that's all I had to say, but thanks again to everybody for all your time and effort. God bless you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for the call. That reminds me, there was this good article a couple of weeks ago in the Willamette Week called Garden of Eden here in Portland.
Garden of Whedon.
Garden of Whedon, that's it. I get it right. But in that article, they talked about cannabis and growing it, and the bill that Senator Morissette and you've been working on. But they had a follow-up this week with their Rogue of the Week. They named a couple of people out there who are known to us, actually, as the Rogues. And the Rogues actually were growing big plants, but they also were planning on giving away big amounts to patients at Oregon Normal's meeting and other things. So their roguishness actually was attempted good will toward other patients, but the Willamette Week didn't know that. All they knew was what the Portland police told them, and that's what they wrote. They never asked anyone else.
Sure.
And so it was a one-sided naming them as a rogue. In fact, these were people who were going to benefit their community by giving away a large amount to other patients.
Yeah.
And that's the benefit. If you don't get ripped off, you might have extra that you can then give away.
Right. That's what most of us do, Paul, like you, and we do it all the time, and we have a bunch of great people out there that donate to us. Joe Buddy brings me a couple of ounces every month just before the meeting, and we go through the process of breaking it down and putting it into nice bags with labels on it and get it out there to patients. And our big winner at the OMCA this year, 2 years in a row, of David Verstappen brought us cuttings already.
Yeah.
And you're bringing cuttings, and I've got another 30 coming, or I think 60 coming in, either tomorrow morning or later on this evening. So it's pretty exciting.
Should have about 30 from me. So
yeah.
We have another caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
How you guys doing today?
Very well. How are you?
Very well. Love your show. You guys are very informative, and had some questions for the normal about tomorrow. I've been coming by the last couple weeks or last couple months and getting some cuttings, and unfortunately the ones I've got died.
Oh, darn.
Well,
We'll
we'll have some
tomorrow.
more for you tomorrow.
Okay, perfect.
Hopefully,
No,
these ones won't.
Hopefully we can get you some bigger ones. You know, a lot of times when you get them and they're really, really small, they're not very viable, and just about any little thing, you know, you look at them wrong and they'll die. So come by tomorrow and see if we can get you some healthy ones.
perfect. And then how about making my excess matter into, I know Paul had some classes going on. Is there,
We do.
Yeah.
when are you guys going to be doing that?
On the 18th.
On the 18th.
The one
How
on
would I-
making hash is coming up. Is that's obviously
Sunday
the one
the
he's talking
18th.
about?
Yeah.
And how do I get involved in that?
Just
back.
call that number there on your screen. It's 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. And we'll have somebody back to you probably Monday or Tuesday, but maybe Saturday.
Great. Well, hopefully I can get one of Paul's cuttings tomorrow, and we'll see you guys down there.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for doing.
we got some medicine woman for tomorrow.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
That's
and
the winner of the Oregon Cannabis
It is
Awards. It's
It
really
is pretty good.
I haven't
too.
tried it myself,
Oh,
but
you
maybe we'll
haven't,
get
huh?
a chance.
Yeah,
You know, there's
Buddy.
an article. This is Buddy the Tortoise,
Yay, Buddy.
whose manure has been a big help in the THCF medical gardens. And in fact, we have this article in the February edition of High Times magazine called "The Plant Whisperer." It was written by Oregon Normal and THCF's own Sister Sativa
Yes.
and the Medicine Man, who is answering the phones in there. But Buddy's seems to have poop that the plants love. That's all we can say.
He's
That's
the
our
pooper.
secret ingredient. And so there's Buddy, the magic tortoise. And here we have the High Times article. So he's famous now in the Willamette Week, famous in High Times, and now the famous tortoise is here on our show.
He may be slow, but he's gold.
Tim, are you ready to play another song for us?
Anytime you want, Paul.
How about now? We have some nifty THCF Medical Garden video we're going to run, and if you're ready to go,
right.
go ahead and hit it, bro. All
Oh,
right,
yeah.
thank you, Tim.
I'm doing this music, and I've got turtles walking around my face.
I know there's turtles getting
Tortoises.
tangled up in all these wires.
Yes. Yeah,
You
that
can't-
Was, that was exciting. I was looking, I was like, oh, that tortoise is
Where
about
did
to
the tortoise
right
go?
through the wires.
Wandering around here. Well, if you are out there this evening and you have a question for Madeline Martinez of Oregon Normal, Don Dupay, who ran a heck of a race for Multnomah County Sheriff, came in second with about
31,500.
31,500 votes here, and that was about 30%?
Yeah.
30% of the voters, so which
I'm still paying for it, too. They're still harassing me.
Well, so it goes. You know, we made some headway. They saw that there's is some political force out here, and we're going to try to harness it, so to speak.
Well, we're changing things. You can feel the energy behind us all. I mean, it's really moving forward. Things are so positive. I think that's why John Walters came into town.
Yeah.
You know, you see the Garden of Whedon, and we got so much positive feedback from that article.
That bugged them.
It was probably one of the best articles ever written on medical marijuana in the state of Oregon, anyway.
Yeah.
That I've seen, and they were very complimentary, saying that we had built a above the law-abiding subculture.
Yeah, the most law-abiding cannabis subculture ever.
Ever, yeah, because we've done things differently, you know. As you know, at the Oregon Normal meetings tomorrow, everybody's got to sign up. There's no messing around.
Only card holders can get in, and only card holders can get
You know, a lot of people say, oh, well, you're kind of being elitist because what about this and what about that? Well, you know, it is elitist. The Oregon Medical Marijuana Program is. Unfortunately, you have to be disabled to get in the club. You know, and that's
right.
Just the way it is. But
it's not the kind of club
everybody.
most kids want to get in. You know, it's most kids,
I
want to be disabled. You know, not a fact.
Very true.
Yep. Well, if you are out there and you have a question for us tonight on the 9th of February 2007, then you can call us at 503-288-4448. We'll be taking your calls right up to the top of the hour. You have an editorial for us this week, Don?
I do, Paul. Last week we talked about the 6.9 beer and the high-powered stuff that they're selling us at the 7-Eleven. And I want to continue with that today. When they put stuff, ingredients on the package, they always put in very fine print. So the fine print is, what the hell is yellow dye number 5 anyway? How many times in your life have you said, well, I can't believe my eyes? Well, it applies to food you put in your mouth every day, because if your meat looks fresh, it's probably treated with carbon monoxide, because that makes the meat stay red, and stay red, and stay red, and stay fresh appearing. Even if it's not, it'll appear fresh for weeks. I've talked before about the additives, but what is yellow dye number 5, number 6, blue dye number 2 and number 3, and green dye number 3? Well, there are 7 dyes that are approved by the FDA for adding into your food. That scares me because I don't trust the FDA. As far as I'm concerned, it stands for fool 'em, drug 'em, and addict 'em. Most of these dyes are derived from coal tar. Coal tar, is an industrial waste. By the way, acetaminophen, or Tylenol as we know it, comes from coal tar waste. It's banned in China because it's dangerous for your liver, and severely restricted in England, but it is nevertheless an industrial waste. And it begs the question, why are we looking at industrial waste for something to put in our food? Another common additive is taurine. You'll see that in a lot of stuff. Taurine comes from bull. Taurine is derived from bull bile. Again, why are we looking in industrial waste and in bull bile to put something in our food? Well, the answer is to make it look pretty, the object of which is, of course, to fool your eyes. So I feel ripped off as a long-time lover of corn puffs, by whatever brand name. I always thought they were pretty and yellow because of the cheese. Nope, it's yellow dye number 6. They spray paint the stuff. You've seen and eaten lots of food products containing red dye number 40. Hope you're not squeamish, because red dye number 40 comes from the crushed bodies of dead insects. They specifically harvest these insects in South America and the Canary Islands. It takes about 75,000 of these dead bugs to make a pound of dye. I wonder who counts these things. The red dye winds up in your food and your cosmetics. It's what makes your lipstick red, your strawberry yogurt red, your cherry yogurt red, and most snack foods that say Cajun. Well, are these dyes harmful? Folks have had reactions ranging from skin rash to death, but personally I've been eating this stuff all my life, corn puffs particularly. I guess what irritates me the most is they don't tell you what yellow dye number 5 is and red dye number 40 is. Tell me on the package that the yellows are derived from industrial waste. Tell me that the red dyes are from dead bugs. I'll probably eat it anyway if I'm high enough, but I want to know what's in this stuff. They hide the stuff they're not proud of in a very fine print, and hiding something by making it really small just doesn't seem right to me, especially if it's something I want to buy and put in my mouth. So you can't trust what these corporations are manufacturing, and you can't trust what you're putting in your food, and you certainly cannot trust your eyes. Let's go get a 6.9 beer and some nachos, Paul. That's the way I see it tonight, right down here on Hemp Street.
Thank you, Don. Now, right here in our studio audience, and we do have a studio audience, which is pretty unusual for a cable access show, but we have a question. And there's a gentleman at the microphone right here. Go ahead.
Hey, Paul, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks for coming down here every single week. You guys come down here, 50 weeks a year. You come in, you do your food, your show prep, get all your stuff ready. You spend 2 hours in makeup, and you guys look great.
No makeup. No makeup.
No, you do. You look really.
I am taking applications for powder girls, though.
Okay, well, I'm out for that. But I really appreciate it, and I think everybody does. And it's obviously the changes you guys made are really coming through. But John Walters, he was on with our local 5-foot fascist here in town, who actually lives in Washington, but he pretends he's an Oregonian. But he was on his show yesterday, and obviously John Walters never takes calls from the public. But he, and it was impossible to get through after that. But he said a few things I thought were kind of interesting. One thing is he never mentioned the word marijuana or cannabis at all, and which is kind of interesting. But he did talk about
OxyContin.
I'm sorry?
He was talking about OxyContin quite a bit.
Yes, he talked about crystal meth and just all kinds of stuff, but he never mentioned the word marijuana, which I thought was kind of interesting. But he talked about the drug use among kids has gone down. In general, again, he didn't say specifically about marijuana, but what it's important to keep reminding these people is that those of us in the medical marijuana community really oppose kids getting near marijuana, being around it, using it. And we believe it should be for people who are over are of legal age or have legitimate medical reasons. And so we support him on that issue. The other thing that he talked a lot about was drug testing. He is way behind drug testing, and it's kind of a covert way of kind of getting at the marijuana smokers, because we know marijuana stays in your system for 60 or 90 days, whereas LSD doesn't stay in for a minute. And other things only stay in for a few days. So it's obviously they don't want the most harmful drugs. That it's more about the political end of it.
Yeah.
But I think we're making progress by what he said. So you guys are doing great, Madeline. You're doing wonderful, and we appreciate it. And hopefully when everybody gets out there tomorrow at the Oregon Normal meeting, just remember that a lot of people out there are really sick. We don't use tobacco, and if you do, you should step away from the line out towards the street maybe and smoke, and that'd be real helpful. Everybody can get along better, and we'll all stay healthy and live a long life.
All right, thank you. Thanks for your question. Any state? I want to see John Walters being questioned by Dennis Kucinich. I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to John Walters finally answering a few questions.
It is very exciting,
Yeah.
isn't it? I also wanted to remind somebody, I don't have the address with me, but on Sunday we have Reverend Levon is having an event at Cannabis Sacrament.
It's at 3525 Northeast MLK. That's going to be
right.
at 4 to 5 o'clock.
4 to 5
at the
o'clock.
One Tribe or
Newborn Tribe
right.
facilities at 3525 Northeast MLK. The service is from 4 to 5, and there's going to be a potluck, pun intended, at 5:30 with holy oil anointing. So
Yes.
stay tuned for that.
That's going to be really exciting. I hope
will.
all of you will come out and join us. We're going to be celebrating our 37th wedding anniversary.
All right. Well, I'm going to be on a jet plane or landed in Denver. We have a bunch of patients to see there in Denver. In fact, the show's on in Denver every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. on cable channel 58. So tune in, Denver watchers.
And can I say that Oregon Normal Presents is back, and we are on the 1st and 3rd Sunday at 6 p.m.
Here in Portland.
Here in well, in lovely Gresham.
Yeah.
Is that where we go and shoot? But yeah,
It's Channel 11.
Channel 11 here in Portland, and it's on Channel 21 every Saturday at 6 p.m.
All right.
Yeah.
We have another caller on the phone. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Thank you very much. Hey, Tim, this is Gordy left side. Tim?
We're missing you. You're skipping in and out. Couldn't hear you well.
In and out. Tim, this is Gordon.
Hello.
This is Blind Brian.
Oh, hi, Blind Brian. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Just want to make a little bit of a comment. You're doing great things. And I want to know, with the normal tomorrow at the
Mount Tabor Theater.
Yeah.
At the corner of Southeast 49th and Hawthorne Boulevard at the Mount Tabor Theater. You want to be there at 11 o'clock. The doors will lock up at about, noon for sure.
A little bit after noon, probably about noon 20. We lock those front doors because we need privacy.
No doubt. And if the person... I'm in a case to where my grower hasn't yet sent his ID or his other information in order for my card to come.
Yeah, they only give them a couple weeks to do that.
Okay.
And so you want to be sure if he's not going to do it that you name someone else because you only have 2 weeks. If they've sent you a letter saying that they'll give you a little more than 2 weeks, but not much.
Okay. And
that's for the Oregon Medical Marijuana Program.
Right. So if I wanted to attend tomorrow's meeting,
you can bring your paperwork that was signed by the doctor.
Okay. Do you have a receipt that you dropped off, or when you dropped off your money at DHS, you can bring that with you?
Or the letter telling you to get
the letter.
The letter. I have all the letter.
Yeah, if you have the letter that says that they've received your application and it appears complete, you can bring that. And you do need to have an ID or a driver's license with you. Because
they
we
won't
have
give
to
me a driver's license.
There you go, no problem.
Oregon ID card, any kind of picture ID will work.
Yeah, we got to have it. Got to make sure it's you.
Yep, that's me. All right.
See you there.
Thank you very much, guys.
All right.
Bye,
Thanks for calling.
You bet.
Yeah, and I just want to encourage everybody while you're sitting out there and you're not doing anything this evening, you can call all of these representatives because their phone numbers are on the Oregon Normal website, and you can jam their lines. In 2003, they tried to light the hoops that we have to jump through to become Oregon medical marijuana patients on fire by, it was House Bill 2939. It was a horrible legislation, and we stopped that because we jammed their phone, answering machine, we jammed their emails, and that's what we have to do again to stop all this other stuff.
That's right.
We
like
have to
House
be proactive.
Bill 465. The one that would let them fire medical marijuana patients for no cause.
Right, and there's about 3 good ones, and then the rest of them are just horrible. They want a drug test, and there's a couple that want to make it a misdemeanor. I think that one's great. They want to make it a misdemeanor to grow. I mean, if they catch you growing it, why not? I mean, I think it's great.
Yeah.
It won't be a felony, and I think it's wonderful.
That sounds a lot better to me.
Senate Bill 327, and there's a lot of them, and you guys need to get active and go onto the websites and find out. Write letters. Tomorrow we're going to be writing letters to Rick Metzger, and we're also going to have a session where we're all bringing our cell phones, and we're going to have people phone in. We have a small room at Zabalas, and we're going to ask people to go to the small room, make a phone call on my dime, on my husband's, on our dime, because we want to change things, and we want to encourage you to be proactive and do so. You can do it at home right now.
That's
so
right.
Take that opportunity to get on that phone.
Hey, we have another caller there. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Okay, I'd like to ask if anybody knows if cannabis can help people who have neurological nerve pain with like tingling in the feet and different symptoms like that.
We're all saying yes.
Yes. Everyone in the studio is nodding their head yes. And there's a lot of people you can't see behind the cameras and in the studio audience. Yes, definitely cannabis can help neurological pain. And CBD in cannabis in particular, which is one of the medicinal compounds that's just as prevalent in the leaves as it is in the flowers.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. If you suffer from one of those conditions there, chronic pain, nausea, AIDS, glaucoma, IBS, seizure disorder, spastic disorder, asthma, GERD, gastrointestinal ailments like Crohn's disease or cancer, then medical marijuana might help you or a loved one. If you need a doctor or can't find a doctor to help you or need more information about medical marijuana, we have a information line and referral service here in the Portland area. Call us at 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. If you're watching up in the Seattle area, where we finally got back on the local cable show, you can call us at 206-878-1701. That's 206-878-1701. If you're in Denver, we have a Denver office there, and we'll be happy to help you. Call us there at 303-403-9996. That's 303-403-9996. And if you're outside of Portland, Seattle, Denver, we have a toll-free number for you. You can call us. We have a referral for doctors in Oregon, Washington, California, Hawaii, and Colorado. So call us at 1-800-723-0188. That's 1-800-723-0188. We have a number of doctors who can help you. You can get information about getting your own doctor to sign you up, which we're always happy to see happen, and other information about getting involved in the movement in adult marijuana prohibition and restore industrial hemp and help medical marijuana patients. So there you go. There's our weekly plug.
That's it. That's what we got to do.
We have another caller there. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
How you doing, guys?
Real well. How are you?
Pretty good. Hey, I've been down to the clinic last couple of years. You guys are great. One question I have for you is when I hear all these people calling in about when they get their little ones, then they're killing them, or I don't know what they're doing. They're dying on them. But my question is when you guys are giving them to them, are they in dirt, or are they just snip, clone, and water?
It changed. Different people bring different donations. I personally like to put my cuttings, make sure they've rooted, put them in dirt, make certain they've rooted into that dirt before I give them away.
Right.
However, I have seen them given away where they're just, a few little fuzzy white roots coming out of the cutting. I realize that, about half of those are probably going to die because the patient's not going to know what to do. And there's a learning curve in indoor cannabis cultivation. It really is a science unto itself.
Sure. Yeah, because a lot of that, I was going to recommend them getting like an aeroponic rooter system or something if they're just getting them snipped that day.
Yeah.
But getting them in dirt's preferable. That's how I let them go too. So.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm just curious about that. So if I thought maybe they was overwatering them, or I don't know what they were doing. So
you just never know.
Yeah,
there's a lot of different things. And then, it's pretty cold here last month.
Yeah.
That meeting, I remember stepping out into like 20 degrees temperatures there.
But we have diehard the people that are devoted and come out there every month, whether it's cold or not. And we're asking people, if you've got cuttings that have mites on them or don't look very healthy, don't bring them to the meeting because we don't really want to spread that around.
No, of course.
We're breeding.
Right.
Well, unfortunately, you say of course, but there's a lot of people that don't think that way. They want to get into the meeting, and so they bring some mite-ridden things, and we just say, no, I'm sorry, but we can't take it. And we've had to say that to a lot of people lately.
Well, they should be bringing them in containers.
Some people don't know.
That they can't get any,
Yeah, we try to give them some information about getting some neem oil on them and taking them back to their car.
Sure.
We don't want to be rude, but we really don't want to make our mites any stronger.
And as a rule, you should neem oil occasionally anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
And you should just do it on any new garden, a new plant coming in should be treated as if it has insects.
Now, if I give my little ones to a lot of people, am I supposed to be the police and know that they're medical patients as I am?
Yes.
Yeah, you have to make certain that if
That's
you're
your
giving
responsibility.
them to someone, that if they are a medical patient, it's true.
I see.
In Oregon, if you give away less than 5 grams of cannabis, not a plant, but of dried cannabis, then that is an infraction, but it's still against the law.
Now, I can still give my patient up to 1.5 pounds. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to clear that up. Okay.
Okay,
All right,
listen,
guys,
we got to
thanks a
run.
lot.
We're down to our last minute here.
All right, you take care.
Thank you. Is there anything you'd like to say in closing?
Get
Madeline?
involved, and you don't have anyone to blame if things happen at the legislature if you don't get involved but yourself.
That's right. They keep saying, when are they going to legalize marijuana? Well, that's when you become part of they.
We are they.
Yes,
That's
we
right.
are they.
Thanks for watching, folks. We got Tim Pate's going to play us another song, and you can look at some more fabulous photos of THCF's medical gardens. Thank you for watching, and help us restore hemp.